audience and Aishwarya is sitting there with cue cards. So I'm just gonna delve directly into this. I'd like to begin by sharing this incident that happened about 3 weeks back. I think this was after they floated the form and the names of the speakers were announced. And somebody, anonymous, came up to me in the library and said, "Tu dancer hai?" And I was like, and he said, "To matlab, you can do full split." And I was like, "Yeah." And, "Acha, tab to tu must dancer hai." And I was like, "Okay." That's interesting. Why would you say that? It's something that I should have said. It's something that I should have said. But what happened instead was that I got into an hour-long debate about how he should change his definition about what dance means to him and all of that. And post that discussion, for a minute, I was just thinking to myself, why did that bother me so much, what he said? It's okay. And that question got me thinking about another one. Did it always bother me so much? And the answer is not really. I think a decade ago, if somebody had told me something like that, I would have taken pride in that comment. Wow, I can do that as well. And, you know, that would have been my sort of a response. So about 8 years ago, I was living in Chennai, and I love that city. And when I was in Chennai, I wanted to sort of create a project, the Entu Cutlet that I was in those days. I'm very old, by the way. So when I was there, I wanted to create a project, and I did with my partner. And the project was called Madras, A Dancer's Epiphany. And this phase is what I'd like to call me, because for some reason it was all about me. Let's get that instant, the 15-minute fame that people talk about. That is what I wanted. And that is somewhat what I got also. So the project took me places, at least around Chennai. I got to dance outside houses. I got to dance on footbridges, outside metro stations. These were like photo shoots I just had because, you know, Facebook. And this was a parched dry land around Chennai. Beaches, lighthouses, you know the place. Right. I also have a snippet to show you. So you see what was happening then. I enjoyed, I can't deny that I had a lot of fun while I was doing all of this. It was interesting. And we got the likes, we got the shares, we got the views. But what really changed was that I sort of started to recognize that what I was trying to do was just, tick those boxes of what a dancer is supposed to be. Flexible hona chahiye, tick. She should be strong, he or she should be strong, tick. She should look like a dancer. I mean, debatable, but that was one of the things. So let's fast forward, and this was something I always aspired to be, initially at least. And let's just fast forward about 5 years from then, and post school, after 5 years of this grueling course of architecture, I was brain fried. I wanted to do something that I really wished I had done initially, which was dance again. And my father wasn't very thrilled, as expected. And but he gave me the green signal, and I got on with it. And I joined this school, Art Gallery in Bangalore. And I would give all the credit to Art Gallery for all the unlearning that has happened throughout. And so Art Gallery was also a place where I was beginning to relive incidents from my life. And Merging Maps is about that. It's about this very happy memory. And let me take you back again. I'm sorry, there's a lot of like fast forward rewind. But what happened is that when I was in first standard, and we used to go for assembly. All of you have gone for assemblies, and you know, after all the nail checking happens and all that, they used to take us to this room for meditation. And that was by far the most boring half an hour I have endured throughout first standard. And it was painful, it was almost painful sitting there because you want to do so many things, but you are expected to sit and you have to keep concentrating at your finger. But there were times when I would sort of get engaged in the process. So I'll just invite all of you to close your eyes right now and just shout out the color that you can see. Just that.
Red, black, blue.
Red, black, blue,
yellow,
silver. Okay, wow. Okay, open your eyes. Just checking. I generally see orange, but during those moments where I was really concentrating, all I could see was blues and greens. I have no scientific reason for that. I'm sure you guys would see different colors, but I saw blue and green. And as I was young, that reminded me of the world map. And what would happen was, if I concentrated for long enough, they would start merging into one another. And as a kid, I thought that this is so cool. North America is, you know, hitting Africa. Australia is going all the way to India. It was just a beautiful memory that I had, and I just wanted to recreate that. There was no other reason. And let's just watch it again. And so now that you have a little context, I think you may have seen the promo that Gibson sent. So you will be sort of able to recognize the movements a little more, maybe. Like there'll be a little more vocabulary, I guess. What happened through this process was very exciting for me as a dancer and as an artist, because I started to see that I was developing a structure now, finally. There was a little more process to my work. But I guess like now you could counter me by saying, what about, you know, the organic process? And isn't art best, you know, created when in its organic nature? And I would agree, honestly. I would agree, because I feel so too. And so the next project, I'm standing in front of this, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the next project that I want to talk to you about is Hugs and Spaces. And Hugs and Spaces is not my creation. It is of this man, this beautiful guy called Stefano Fardelli. He's an Italian choreographer and a dance therapist and an educator. So we had a module with Stefano for a while, and one day he just comes to class and he says, we have an interesting project up ahead for all of you, and we were excited. And he just stands in the middle of the room and he says, come give me a hug. and I mean, he's cute. So yeah, we wanted to hug him also. And but so everybody stood up in a line, and one by one we went, and all we did was just hug him. And it was, the responses were interesting because some people hugged him for 20 seconds, some people hugged him for 2 minutes, some people were just aversive, they didn't want to do it. And it was understandable. So let me take you through the process of this. You see, like what he asked us after this whole process of lining up and hugging him, we had to sort of create our own hugs. So what we were actually trying to do through the process was understand the physicality of touch and hugs specifically, keeping emotions aside. So that was what we were trying to intend towards. And there were other sub-projects within Hugs and Spaces, and we'll come to that. So people came up with creative reinterpretations of hugs. Some were just, I mean, some were like tender, even though we were supposed to keep emotions apart. Some were just weird, but it was fun. It was fun, the process. And as a project, this was supposed to be held at NGMA Bangalore. And NGMA is a great space, and we were supposed to be human installations amongst the art, and it was a very interesting project for all of us. But we were denied, we were just denied admission into NGMA. And so we had to go to our plan B. We didn't have a plan B, by the way, we just made it on with the floor. And then we had to perform here. And this is Lal Bagh, Bangalore. It's a public park. And so you see what happened between this and this is that our audience really changed. So from an art project, which was supposed to be in a museum, we had to come down to a public park. Now please don't hold me like, charge for saying that you have to come down. But it was scary for us because we were doing something which was supposedly intimate in a park. What we did is we stood in lines, and the exercise that I spoke about earlier, we went and we hugged strangers then. Of course, we asked for consent and then we hugged them. And we were hugging Swiggy Bhaiyas, we hugged old ladies, we hugged children. Again, consent was there. And so we were hugging everybody. And their reactions were also very interesting. Some people had fun, they enjoyed it. Some people said, please go away. It was fine. So, these are just images I wanted to sort of share with your viewer can be. We stood in that place for about an hour. The viewers came, they thought we'll do something. They stood, they waited. Some actually waited throughout the process, some just didn't, they left. We created voids through our project. I mean, we were creating hugs and people would just leave, and then what is left behind is just a physical void. So this project also gave me one other thing, and that was to understand, again, that there is a lot of beauty in just chance, things happening by chance. So all of these images that you see have just happened because one person lay down and somebody joined. And slowly all of us just started joining, and it just became a beautiful installation. This was also there. That was me right at the bottom, by the way. Yes. So as I speak about chances and things which are organic, let's get philosophical, so is life. And so this is something personal I just wanted to share with you. So while I was at this art school, I mean my dance school, my movement school, this was about 1.5 years back, and my father was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And so he used to work for the government, he used to work for the railways, and you know how that era was, like you have to be the breadwinner of the family, and you can't show signs of weaknesses at all, and that is how he was also. But obviously you sort of lose strength, and there was a day when he wasn't able to get up, and he sort of fell off because he wanted to use the washroom and he couldn't. And thankfully I was there, not a superhero, but thankfully I was still there because I went and instinctively, and I just knew what to do. I knew how to lift him. And again, I want to stress that this is not a sort of a superhero moment. It really isn't, because this is something I learned 2 weeks back in class about lifting dead weights. And I was sort of, applying that process of two center of gravities being close to one another instead of being far away. It was as simple as that, and I was able to lift him up. and he did acknowledge it when he could. So him is just a special project to me, and I hope you sort of see what you saw initially was Madras, and from there where we have come now. And this was just a journal for me more than anything else. What you would see now are his emotions and his thoughts. So this was all about him, and this was just for him. So as I conclude, I just wanted to sort of talk to you about my takeaways. And before that, I need to tell you that I'm not going to be naive, and I'm not going to say that dance and movement arts and performance art is my life, because it isn't. It's a part of my life, and I'm aware of that. But it has played a very important part in my life. It has taught me so many things. And like taking you back to the first project, it taught me that like no matter how old I get, it's never too late to sort of unlearn everything if required, to sort of relearn if there is scope for something better. Through the second project, it taught me that structure, even in art, can do wonders. It's nice, sometimes it's nice to have some structure. The third project, I guess, contrary to the second one, taught me to sort of believe in plan Bs, and they also work. And sticking to some, organic moments is also good. And I guess more than anything else, it sort of helped me relive the really good moments and sort of journal the not so good moments. So these were my takeaways up till now. It's been 25 years, so it's just this much as of now. Your possible takeaways, I don't know, maybe there are none, but your takeaways could be mine also, but possibly in your fields, whatever your interests are. Maybe you have to see it from a different lens. Are there other things that it is teaching you apart from just that one primary goal? And maybe let's go back to that one, that guy I met in the library. Maybe now you know that dance could be so much more than just what you thought it was. I hope it has done that much. And if all of this was also too preachy, I just have something which I just picked up from an Instagram handle. So this was written for the Dance Day, World Dance Day. I hope that when you dance in a club or on stage, in the shower or off of social media, in the bedroom or your living room, you remember what it felt like to dance to track 4 on side B of your favorite cassette, and how you moved in abandonment and joy despite cutlery clatters and grown-up chatters.